Hello and welcome to the Real Life Sports Show. This podcast is for sports fans, whether you're playing it, interested in it, or looking to learn from high achievers. My name is Sam Adams. I'm known as the Real Life Coach. I'm a business owner and a life coach, and I work with sports professionals, athletes, coaches, and people in and around the industry. I help those people live more expansively, more authentically, so that they can enhance their performance, whether that's playing their game or living their real life. My background is in business. I've been in business for over 20 years in property. I've mentored and coached in that industry, and that led me into being a life coach. I'm super passionate about sports, and that's what led me to working in that industry and creating this podcast. In this podcast, I'm going to be talking to some amazing human beings, some elite athletes and people from that industry. We're going to be talking about the glory, the glamour, the achievements and the medals, but we're also going to go to the real life bit, behind the scenes, what it really takes to excel. We're going to talk about the guts, the determination, the grit and the grind. For you, the listener, you're going to get some great takeaways and insight, whether you're looking to achieve for yourself around your mindset or your personal development. This is the podcast for you. So if you enjoy the podcast, I'd love for you to leave me a 5-star review and any comment you have. So here we go, the Real Life Sports Show. Okay, everybody. Today I'm really pleased to have the amazing, the wonderful Mark Little with me. He now plays for Bristol Rovers. And yeah, I'm really stoked that you said yes to being on the podcast. So thanks for being here, Mark.
I think you've got the wrong Mark Little if you said the wonderful and amazing one. That's the,
yeah, if you Google Mark Little, you get a few, don't you?
Yeah, there is a few. There's an actor, and there's a couple of actors, and yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a comedian as well, but yeah,
yeah, that was it, yeah.
Yeah, I knew who you were, so it's all good. Yeah, like I said, thank you for being on the podcast. Really appreciate you giving up your time today. I guess, obviously, I want to probably start the early years, like how you got into football. I don't know if it was a typical sort of, story. So how did you get into football?
Yeah, just did it so much. Kicking a football since I could walk, then school as much as I could, made all the school teams. Then my dad took me to like the local sports centre, so I joined a load of other guys that were doing the same. And then from playing in that team, I managed to kind of get trials at various clubs. So I was at you kind of go into what's called a development centre. You have a trial, and then you go in. This was a long time ago. It's all changed now, but
you're not that old. You're not that old.
It's changed a lot since I was having my school trials. It was over 20 years ago now. But
oh yeah, of course, yeah.
So I'd have my trial, and then what kind of happened with the various clubs were, right, he's got a talent. He's not quite ready to join our official academy, which would be like sign under a contract type of thing. So you go into the development centre. So I was at Coventry for a while, Aston Villa for a while, Birmingham City for a very short while, a couple of weeks that one was, and kind of just, right, okay, you can't train with us now, so I'd go back to my local team. Then I'd go to Villa for a bit, and then come back to us next year type of thing. But then I ended up at Wolverhampton Wanderers, so I did a 6-week trial there, and I think after the 4th week they said, yeah, we're gonna offer you a contract. We'd like you to train with our academy full time. So I think I was 12 and nearly 13 when I signed, and I was just 13 when I signed. And then I stayed with Wolves then and went right the way through and made my debut with the first team.
Wow, because it sounds like a lot of moving around for a young kid. What was that like, going sort of all these different places?
So you'd only have to go. You'd only have to travel for the trial. So that was only 3 or 4 times. But then the development centres, which were basically they'd hire coaches to come to a satellite place. So they were all quite local to me. So I'm from Worcester. So Coventry's was in Worcester. Villas was in Worcester, and Blues was in Birmingham, which is only probably half an hour from where I lived. But once I did sign for Wolves then, and it was training 3 times a week and then a game on the weekend, that's probably an hour's drive for me. So that was my mom. So that was straight after school, hour up there, probably an hour and a half in traffic. I trained 2 hours whilst my mom sat and watched in the cold and freezing, and then another hour and a half home. And then I did that on a Monday, Tuesday, and a Friday, and then I'd play on a Saturday. And like you say, that is a lot. The travelling didn't really bother me. I was chauffeured, but it was very tough for my mum. Like, you don't think about it until you're a parent and you drive people around. That must be a tough slog for her, which I'm eternally grateful for.
Obviously it's a commitment on both parts. So, did you feel it though as a kid, sort of, obviously, because Monday, Tuesday, and I think it said Friday, was it? It couldn't have been Friday. That's a long day, isn't it, for a young lad? And then, getting into school the next day and concentrating. And did you feel it then, or was it just, I'm just really happy I'm playing football? And
yeah, to be honest, I loved it when I was young. Definitely in the academy days, I don't think I did get tired. Just because I was a really active person, and I loved it. I'm still at home. I'm still at school with my friends, and then in the evenings I used to go and play football at a really good level. And again, I just loved it. And obviously, it's a tough slog on my mum. Dad was proud as punch, so I really, really enjoyed it. Which was, which enabled me to progress and get a lot better in that time. For me to sign at that time was a scholarship then, so to then take the next step on the ladder type of thing. Yeah,
that's awesome. What did was there sort of any defining moment when you were younger when you realised, actually, you know what, I'm quite good at this? Was there just one moment where you just thought, God, you know what, I can make something of myself here with this?
I think that was the day I got my scholarship. Anything before that, because you'd only take you train in year groups. When I was at my local team, I genuinely thought I wasn't the best player. There was 3. I played in a team that used to win a lot. We used to win quite a few cups and leagues and things like that. We were the better team in our small city of Worcester. And there was lads in there that were better than me, I feel, technically. But I know, for one, I won't mention names, but there was definitely a lad that I thought, like, he's going to be a pro. But I don't know they used to describe it as my dedication, but it wasn't really my dedication. It was the fact that if I had to be for training, my mum would get me to training. Whereas I think this lad's parents were a bit like, oh, maybe not today, it's a bit far, or something like that. He's actually a very intelligent boy, and he went back to uni and is very successful. But I think that's the difference between certain lads. And there was one of my best schoolmates. I look back now and I think, you know what, you were better than me, but I stuck at it, kept on turning up, tried my best every training session. I loved it as well. I think that shone through a little bit, and then it got to the point. So under 16, so you'd be 14 turning 15. No, was it? No, sorry. Next year you were 15 turning 16. And it was like that was, I felt, was, if I don't get a scholarship, then I need to look at something else, because that I felt at that point it would kind of pass you, or you get your scholarship and then you've got every chance then to go on to make a career, because Wolves were in the Prem at that point. So you feel if I made it into a Premiership club, there was still chances of me going to Championship, League 1, League 2 type of thing. So that was probably I didn't think anywhere further than the next training session up until scholarship times. And then when I was doing that, it was right. It wasn't right. Concentrate at school and then go and do your football. It was then right, football, which again was much better for me, because once I'm focused, you can do what you do.
Yeah, I mean, it brings into play the whole, like you talking about your friends and that, and some of that maybe you thought technically better than you. It brings that whole skill and will into it, like your will and determination and discipline elevated you to that level to get you your scholarship. Because you can have all the skill in the world, right? but if you don't stick at something, you're not passionate about it. And there are plenty of people who've got gifts, right? But they don't automatically use them because they don't have the will, the foresight, or the determination to do anything with it.
I firmly agree with that. Completely agree with that, because like I said, there's players that I know still to this day that I'm thinking there's a you have everything to go on and make a career here, and it doesn't happen. And obviously, again, it's so if there's 11 or say 15 in every age group, it jumps up, and there's only usually 1 or 2 that make the cut. Right. And then the same when you've hit men's football, every year there's a call. So every year there'll be players coming and going, and you just got to make sure that basically the spot is yours every single time. And that's where I think my career has gone the way that it has. And it wasn't anything to do with talent or anything like that. Obviously there's some level of natural ability, but the majority of it's hard work. I believe in that, hard work and dedication.
Yeah, I mean, the best people, the best skilled player isn't necessarily going to shine through unless they've still got to practice, they've still got to turn up, be disciplined, be consistent, and that, yeah. So that's the whole will over skill kind of thing. So, do you, I guess what I'd like to probably talk about is sort of the challenges that you've faced over the years, because you've moved about a little bit. You've been to City, and now you're at Rovers, and that. What would you say are the biggest challenges that you've faced in your career?
I'm facing my biggest challenges now, I believe. It's as you progress through your career, you hit so many different ones. So when I first started out, it was just I still needed to kind of prove yourself, because there are players that make their debut and then they've done a year and then you don't see them ever again. So it was you take every step as it comes. So my first stage was right. Now someone's offered me a scholarship, so then it's kind of right. Can I, because that's still youth football, and then can I make it to the men's stage, which would be like reserve football? Then it's make your debut, and I could just keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going, and just ticking away the kind of the progressions. And then so I got released from Wolves. That was probably my first one, but again, it wasn't really a difficult time for me. It was sad that I was leaving the club that I started at, but I kind of, hit the ground running when I went to Peterborough, because I had a really, really good time at Peterborough. So again, I play in every week. Managers come and go, and every manager was sticking with me, so it was all positive. Then I left for Bristol City. So again, that was when my career went up to another notch, because I was the success that we had there. And then when I went to Bolton, my first challenge I had to face was obviously now I've accumulated lots of bills and outgoings and all that sort of stuff. I had a fiance, nearly a wife at that point, and then Bolton decided not to pay me. So I've never had the stress of I never had any sort of stress outside of football, other than general stuff. But then I had that on top of me, which was a bit like, well, this is crazy. Then through whatever reason, the manager wasn't playing me, and that's not something that I'm used to. I'm definitely used to manager saying, Mark, I'm giving you a rest, or right, you've had a lack of form, but you'll get back in my team. But that was the first manager that didn't tell you, look me in the eye and told me straight, but I had the feeling that this manager wasn't a fan of mine, and I still had 18 months left on my contract. So that was a big challenge to keep my head, keep my head, and keep doing the things that I mentioned, is turning up every day, training hard every day. Because until that point, when you read all the sports books and all the positive speaking books, and it's like, yeah, just keep your head and work hard. It was easy at that point, because I was playing well, I was fit, and just that came easy. But until the point where something's like, right, you've got to turn up every day, rain or shine. You've got to perform to the best level you can. You've got to impress someone that genuinely don't really want to play you. That playing against the impossible, really, which is very, very difficult. That was probably my biggest challenge that or first and second combined. And then I moved to Bristol Rovers, where I'm now challenging my body, if I'm quite honest. My head at this level, like, without being arrogant, I kind of feel like I know what I'm doing. I've done 400 plus games. Wherever the manager wants to put me, like, I kind of know what I'm doing, but can I do it to the level that I have been for the previous 10 years? That's where I'm battling at the moment, where, like I said to you before, like, I didn't really used to get tired. Like, that wasn't a thing for me, and muscle overuse injuries wasn't a thing for me. But now I'm the other side of 30. That is a game where I genuinely want to do twice as much training as what I'm doing now, but that would be a risk for my body, and that's not the best idea. So now I'm literally playing cat and mouse, which is extremely difficult. And then I kind of get a run in the team where I'm able to say, right, I'm back to where I was. Then I get another little injury. So that's tough. That's where I am now is the toughest thing I've had to deal with in football. Because I'm watching all these young kids run around. I'm thinking, I can do that. But it's I've kind of got a different role now where I'm kind of, the easiest way to explain it would be I need to stand still and direct other people around me. Whereas before I was the one being directed, running up and down and up and down and up and down. That's probably the easiest way to describe it. So, but again, I'm enjoying it, enjoying the role. I'd enjoy it a bit more if I was getting more game time, but I do have to concede. I spoke to a mentor of mine who's kind of said, well, if you go 14 years and you're still playing every week in, week out, if it's this year that I don't get so many games, then still, if you look at the career for a long time, if I start playing again next year, then I only had a kind of slight blip on the radar rather than a rubbish career type of thing. So that has been tough for me.
It is it'd be easy just to look like, oh, I haven't played this year, and the mind naturally wants to go to the negative or the not so good when there's so much good, and naturally as human beings we just always go to the blip. I don't know why, it's just what we do. I think we're 70 times more programmed to focus on the negative than positive, so it's natural that you do that. But I think what's interesting about what you say about all of that and just that general sort of rundown in your career is actually how much pressure there is. Because, I'm a massive sports fan. I watch a lot of sport, and it inspires me, and I'm inspired. But we don't really know what goes on behind closed doors. We think, oh yeah, they're all right. They've got it. They're playing. They're living their best life, right? They've got, playing football or tennis or whatever at a top level. They got money. They got this. They got that. But actually, there is a lot of pressure that goes on behind the scenes.
The pressure is immense, and you don't really get players kind of, what do you say, bringing that up and complaining about it, because our life is, well, it's a dream, isn't it? Really, it's doing something that you enjoy every day of your life. It's to a lot of people, it's a dream, but that doesn't take away the pressures like you've just mentioned, because I felt the pressure early on. It was like, well, my mom did what she did, and my dad, to get me where I was. I can't let them down. Like I said, I can't let them down. It's impossible. So that's it. Then you look at, right, Wolves was I moved at Wolves, moved to Wolves. I've been going there for Wolverhampton Wanderers for years and years and years. They were my home club. Had so much support from the community. Like, everyone, everywhere I went was a Wolves fan. I lived in digs, so the Wolves family that I was with, they basically gave me a passport to go and play football. They taught me everything. So then I can't let them down now. So not only am I can't let my family down, I can't let Wolves fan base down. Like, that, again, that's another thing. Like, the pressure to perform there. And then the next step for me went on to Peterborough was like, well, I'm gonna have a girlfriend, fiance, wife, family. I can't let them down now. So there's another person I can't let down. And then that's like your small circle. But then the pressure that you put on yourself which you have to put on pressure on yourself. I don't know an elite athlete that doesn't set goals or set a level of achievement to where you want to be. Like, so if I say to myself, right, we're going to go and play in the Premier League, I'm not accepting lower league football. It's just and if that's the only thing you thought about over and over and over, you'd have to literally unprogram your mind to understand that, okay, that's not quite the level that you're going to play at, and you're going to need to go and play lower. And that the pressure that if you didn't put that pressure on yourself, you wouldn't achieve half as much. My opinion, achieve half as much as what you could.
I mean, Billie Jean King always said pressure is a privilege, right?
Yeah,
that's a classic quote from her, and I know it's used a lot in sport. And I think, in sport especially, you're always looking for that next level, right? You're always looking to go to the next mountaintop. How can I improve? How can I get better?
Yeah.
When you play at the high levels, you want to be at the highest level, right?
Yeah, of course. You're not here to. I'm not here to mess around. It's to play at the highest level, and that is also. It's got a lot to do with my identity as well. And I hear this a lot being spoken about, and I'm only just grasping it now as I'm coming to the end of my career, where it's like my identity is Mark. So whether that's a friend, family, external, another circle out, my dad's mates at the pub, whoever it is, it's Mark who's really good at football. So I have to be really good at football, because as soon as I'm not really good at football, then I'm back on Mark who's rubbish at football. Do you see what I'm saying? Where they, I feel that my friends, the good friends I love to death, like, I don't feel that they have that, not the words, I was going to say stigma, but it's not stigma around them. I don't think they have that external pressure to kind of deliver anything, if you know what I mean. Where I feel like I that's my identity, and I need to crack on with that, or else what have you got left with? I know it's not true. I know it's nothing. I know there's my close people around me, my family see a lot more than just playing football. I know that for a fact, but it's just the feeling that you have at the back of your head. It's like, well, this is all I've known since I was, like I said, I started kicking a football since when I could walk. So I've been Mark who's good at football since I could walk, and now it's getting to the point where Mark is good at football if his body allows it. And then it's going to be Mark who's had a really good career, and that is a massive process where I've got to unprogram my mind. The only people you can speak to about that is people that have been through it, like ex-pros, and see how they manage it. It's well documented. A lot of people don't take it too well. It's not just football, any sport. That's any sport, or Olympians. Like I imagine an Olympian an Olympian who would have to train much harder than me, and say if someone's going to the Olympics and they have to focus on something so tiny for 4 years. Yeah. Then, right, okay, that was your last Olympics. Then what? Like, that's what.
Yeah, I mean, I'm friends with Dame Kelly Holmes. I think you know that anyway. But she does say, because obviously she won those 2 golds in Athens, and then it's only now, which is probably, I think it's 13 years later, that she's kind of really knows who she is again. Like, she's really driven with her businesses and things like that. But
I heard you speak with whether interviewing her or just having a chat with her on Clubhouse the other day. And
we run a room on Clubhouse on a Thursday night together. So we were talking about it. She does openly talk about those challenges, because when you're elite at something, like you're an elite footballer and professional footballer and any elite athlete, or someone that's really super known and does something really super well, when that's gone, that's really bloody hard, right?
It's so hard, because like the words that you're using there, now she was elite, like elite of the elite. So now she's in the businesses, she's accepted that she isn't going to be elite. She's just going to be as good as she's going to be good at her businesses, and she's going to do her best to get to the next level. So, and she also mentioned it wasn't as fulfilling. So if she, I'm not certain on what her business are, but I don't know, say she wins an award for woman business of the year or something like that, business woman of the year, then that's not as fulfilling as winning a gold medal. And I completely understand that, but imagine going the rest of your life now thinking, right, well, I'm never going to get to that high again. I'm never going to win another gold medal. anymore. And that is, like you said, what did you say, 14 years, was it?
Yeah, I think 13 years ago. Yeah,
It's tough. It's tough.
but I mean, she's got there now. she feels all right now. But I've coached a couple of footballers. One of them was still playing, and the other one was sort of playing, coming to the end of his career. And I know for him, there is an element of what now, what next, who am I? Kind of your identity is so wrapped up in being this elite athlete, this pro athlete. It can be really challenging, and finding the same kind of highs and the same kind of buzz that you get from playing your sport, you've now got to find it in something else, which can be really challenging. And I'm working with another athlete, and that person again is coming to the end of their career. They've got about 18 months left, and they're asking those questions now, which is great actually, rather than just waiting and like, well, I'm out the door.
Yeah,
what I think you have to ask those questions earlier on, right? I mean, how old are you, Mark? Did you say? Sorry, 30?
32 I am.
Yeah. So how much longer do you hope to play for?
Again, as long as my body lets me. Like I still love playing. So I've definitely got. I know this year I could have helped the team a lot more than sitting on the bench. I know that for a fact, and I know that I could go into another team in this league very easily and contribute massively. Or lead a team. I'm very confident in that. So it would be such a shame if I have to drop a level or drop again, because I know I've still got stuff to offer at this level. And then again, my contract's up in the summer, so I've got to sit there and I've got to have a discussion with my wife, because if I'm dropping a level and I'm having to go a million miles away, then this might be my last 6 months, which you never know. Like, I never know. I hope it's not. I'm pretty sure that pretty certain that I've got plenty more in the tank. Go way over 35, but you never know. I can't say, I'll just go and sign for someone else, because I've got to find someone that wants that. Do you know what I mean? I'm seeing a lad came on trial today actually, which I won't mention his name, but I think like a senior Wales international. I'm thinking, right, if he hasn't got a team, I spoke to one of my friends I used to play with at Wolves. This guy who's played in the Premiership. If I said his name now, I'd say 90% of footballers would say, "Oh yeah, he's a serious player. He's been sat at home for a year." I'm thinking, scary. Wow. It's scary. So
there's a fine line, then, isn't there? There's that fine line between playing and not playing.
All to do with timing and all that sort of stuff. So I can't say to you, "Oh yeah, I'll just get another contract next year," because you never know what's around the corner. So I hope for the best, but prepare for the worst type of thing. Excuse me, I'm just just put a warning up saying it might go.
Okay, no worries. So how have you preparing yourself? Because I don't just mean in terms of business or work or whatever, but actually it's a mental game, right? It's mentally preparing yourself for it as well, which is probably for me, I would say that's the most crucial part of it all, because when you struggle with that mentally, everything else becomes difficult around it as well. So how are you preparing yourself?
How I kind of described it previous was programming my mind, and I've got plenty of time to do that, which is brilliant. Because some people have to program their mind within. Some people would go on holiday. Like we usually finish season early May, and then have to go into pre-season in July. So they've probably got 8 weeks to kind of go away on holiday. So some lads would be like, right, I'm just going to go on holiday, and then when I get back, I'll end up at my next club or my next job. And when that doesn't happen, they've got to program their mind then in such a small period of time. And I think I'd struggle with that. So my head is just my head wise, it's just right, get my mind in a place for the worst case scenario. If I don't find a club, what am I doing? That's where. But financially wise, I've been considering this for 4, 5, 6 years. So luckily I did a lot of I did a lot of education regarding property. I went on so many courses and things like that. Managed to get myself a good portfolio, as if I kind of get my basic bills paid. So if it turn around and I don't get a job in 6 months' time, then I can kind of pay bills, which is a lot. I feel a lot more relaxed about that than a lot of other people. Whereas if my body allows me to do what I always set out to do, which is to play until 35, 36, 37, then in 4 or 5 years' time, then that portfolio will grow to the point where I'm very, very comfortable, say. So that's where that's basically the difference now. It's either right, my bills are paid. I've now got to go and get out. I've got to if I want to still keep going on these holidays that me and the wife go on, and then I've got to go and do something else. But that's where I want to be 4 or 5 years time away. Do you see what I mean? So
is there? Sorry, go on.
I just thought the also thing is I'd be no good without a project. I'd be no good sat at home around the house. It just wouldn't. I couldn't get my head around it. Like I've always got something to be working towards. I've always got to be better at that. I've always got to go to work and impress this person. I've got to win the next game. If that was taken away from me, I'm like that. I don't know. We had the lockdown, and I had to sit at home, and it was my worst nightmare. So that's just down to what you're used to doing. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I had to keep playing games with myself with. So I'd go out and have a cycle or a jog, and I'd have to beat my time just to come home and be like, oh yeah, I've accomplished something.
It's a good thing to do. It's a good thing to challenge yourself.
I don't feel good on the sofa. I don't.
No, and it's good to challenge yourself. You know, I'm always challenging myself. I mean, it's getting harder the older I'm getting, but I still do it. And I think it keeps you driven and it keeps you focused. It gives you something to get up for, gives you a purpose. So, and challenging yourself in one area can cross over into other areas of your life. So I definitely think it's a good thing to do. What do you say then throughout your career to this point then? What's been your greatest achievement?
Well, just achieving my dream really of having a career in football. That was probably my greatest achievement. A big umbrella over the top of it. And then I was lucky enough to have some achievement within that I'm proud of. So making my debut so young, then first promotion, then winning my first Johnson Pate Cup. So that was basically like a cup competition from League 1, League 2 and below. That was my won that cup at Wembley. Then I won the league with Bristol City. Sorry, we won the league very convincingly. That was a brilliant year that we had. I've made some brilliant, awesome friends there that I won't ever. I'm still speaking to the majority of them every day. We had a successful season where we won the league convincingly, and then we won the Johnson Pate again. So that's my second time that I won that. Where I scored in the cup final and scored at Wembley, which is probably something when you kind of I want to do that and I want to dream. I dream to do that. That was like up here. Like I didn't even put that to kind of score at a Wembley Cup final. So
I'll have to look that up. I didn't know that. I know you won it, but I didn't know you scored actually. So I'm gonna have to look that up on YouTube or something.
I'm a defender, so for me to stick scoring at Wembley on your tick list, it just didn't happen. That was a brilliant year for me. That I'd say they were my greatest achievements, and then my next achievement, if I end up saying it right, if I'm still playing at 36, then I can definitely tick that box. Then playing professionally at 36 would be my next greatest achievement, really.
Yeah. And I guess in order to do that, it's the discipline, isn't it? It's discipline around keeping yourself fit mentally and physically. And is that, I mean, obviously there's a level of responsibility that comes on you personally for that. Obviously you go to the club and you train and they put on the training. But when it comes to, there still has to be an element of that you take personal responsibility for, right? At home with your diet, with your mindset and stuff? How, do you get a lot of support? How does it work?
Wow, I don't know if it's hard for me to answer that, to be quite honest, because the clubs that I mentioned before, so started at Wolverhampton Wanderers, Premiership club, so much infrastructure. I'd have a Pilates and yoga person. I'd have strength and conditioning coach. I'd have a general fitness coach. I'd have a physio, not just a. So at Wolves, I believe there's probably about 8 physios at Wolves. So there was always someone who would have the time.
Yeah.
I looked at that and I thought, oh, well, this is easy. If I need that, I'll just go and speak to that person. Now I'm at Bristol Rovers, which is the setup isn't as what would you? Isn't as
well, they don't have the money, do they? I mean, it's a lower league, so it's what League One, is it, Rovers?
Yeah, we're at League One, so it's a lot tougher because then it 100% like now I've got those people I mentioned. So there's a physio there, there's a fitness coach there, there's an intern nutritionist that comes in part-time. No Pilates and yoga, not the best facilities at this moment in time. So I have got those people to kind of bounce off, but that's not enough for myself to keep myself in a level that I need to be. So that responsibility falls on me 100%. So it now turns to I need to seek out these professionals myself and have these conversations with them to work out what it is. And it is tough because Bristol Rovers aren't having the best time at the moment. Unfortunately, we've had 3 managers since I've been here. So the teams come and go, the managers come and go. So training changes. We just lost our manager less than a week ago. So this week, it's a fresh week. So training completely changes. So if I go outside to an external S&C coach and I say, right, this is what I'm feeling in my body. Can you help me with this? I need this, that, and the other. He will then plan it around my training. So we've got a plan together. We're working on it. We've got a focus. Brilliant. 6-week program. And then the manager changes and then the training changes. We got to start again now. We've got to go back and work another plan. So it's constant. It's nothing solid. It's like liquid. It's moving around. But it's tough. Like I said at the start, this is a challenge for me. This is a challenge.
Yeah, but it sounds like you're managing it pretty well. You're committed to it. That's what I'm sensing. Your level of commitment is pretty high.
I have to do it. There's no if I want to play Tom 36, I have to do it. It's as simple as that. It's about to a point of professionalism where you kind of have to demand it off people as well. Like I completely understand that my coaches have got 30 other players to deal with and they got a league to worry about. I get that, but at the same time, like I need as much help as I can to perform to the best level as I can. So it's a different challenge. It's a completely different challenge.
Yeah. What's obviously so throughout your career within the game, how has it changed since you were a young lad to now? Because obviously that's a good chunk of time. Have you seen massive differences in terms of fitness and nutrition, mindset stuff? How has it changed?
Yeah. The game from when I started is definitely gone more physical, and you're now breeding athletes rather than. I remember my first team. The lads would smoke and we go near the gym and all that sort of stuff. But they were that technically gifted. They let the ball do all the work.
Yeah.
Now you've got players that can do both. To compete with that, you've got to be an athlete. So it definitely went, and it's still going that way. Well, no, I'd probably say now the Premiership, maybe not our league, but the Premiership is now, I think, I think every player has got such a level. Every player is an athlete. There's no player that can't perform to a certain level, and at that league. So I think it's now going more technical again, going back the other way. The other thing that I've noticed is this is more to do with the finance of things, where back in the day, managers used to rely on senior players to be in the team because they use their nous to kind of lead and direct it. Now, clubs are playing more younger players because there's more monetary value for the club in the future, if you know what I'm saying. So if they're going to look to, if my next club is missing a right back and they need a right back, that's where I play. And you've got a 20-year-old player that hasn't played many games but has the potential to start at that level, buy him cheap, well, get him on a free, progress him for 3 or 4 years, then sell him on for a couple of million quid.
Yeah.
The clubs, that's more value than me turning up, who's got over 400 odd games experience. But they know what my level is. They know full well that they're not going to get me on a free now and sell me for £1 million. That it'll be very difficult to sell me on. That's where now clubs are now trying to go to younger, less experienced players, which is another battle that I'm fighting. So I've got to not only have I got to sort myself, but I've got to compete with that sort of thing. And I think that's happened to me here, to be quite honest, where I'm watching younger players do things that I feel that I'm more than capable of doing, if not better in certain circumstances. But I know that they're going to get more game time, because if these guys progress, they're going to get sold on for a few quid, which is hard. But again, you should do your best. I can't do anything about that. I don't own the club, so you just have to get on with it.
That's another, mental challenge, though, isn't it? Dealing with that dynamic, because I'm not in that world. I don't think about that until you've just said that, and it's really interesting, and you have to deal with that mentally, knowing that actually you might you could do if not, a good job, if not better job, but because of the dynamics of what you said, it's a business at the end of the day, right? So.
There's no point me getting angry and upset about it, because if I was the owner of the club, would that be how I run my business? I don't know. It's not my business. It's his business. It's his club. Or when I say owner, it's never just the owner. There's many people in that kind of decision making circle. But I know for me, I watch games and I think, well, I can help here. Do you know what I mean? Like I've been in this scenario before, and I can help here. So that's what makes me. That's what disheartens you. And then again, so I watched the game, and then I'm mentally got to get that out of my head Sunday afternoon, and then I got to come to work on Monday and show them all again, show them my attributes again and again and again. So it is tough, but it's part of my job, and that's what I'm here to do. Like,
yeah. I'm a bit conscious of time. Obviously, don't want to keep you too long, but I get what would you say the biggest lessons that you've learned from your footballing career?
I think, it helped me grow up very quickly. Like I am in the early days, where I feel if I had to go to school or stay at school and go to college and university and that sort of stuff, I feel I'd still be mothered until the age of probably 22, 23. Not everybody, I'm just saying my circumstance, where I had to leave home at 15. So yes, I wasn't wandering around Wolverhampton on my own, but I was out of my. I had to grow up. I had to basically get street smart. Where I grew up in Worcester, which is a really pleasant countryside kind of city, and then I moved to Wolverhampton, to the big city where I was hanging around with operated slightly different to what I grew up with. Yeah. And then I moved into I bought my own house at 18. So my wife is like, we talk about when are we going to kick my son out of the 2? But we still have this discussion, and we completely disagree. Where I'm like, well, I love him to. Where she's like, no, stay with us till he's like 25 and all that sort of stuff. But that was the first thing that I learned. I just feel that football shapes the person, and I think, like you say, I've learned how to operate under pressure. Like, if anyone asks me to operate under pressure, no problem, I can do that, because majority of things outside of football, I don't have to do in front of 80,000 people. Do you know what I mean? I can take my time to do it. So yeah, the pressure, also the diversity that I come across, because just then one dressing room that I mentioned to you, where I went from country kid to kind of dealing with inner city boys, and then every dressing room I've got into, there's international people. I'm sat next to a French chappie. I'm sat next to our goalkeeper Finn at the moment. He's a pure Viking. Like, it's just the different types of people, different types of cultures that you all bring together in a dressing room. I think it's brilliant. Honestly, it's brilliant. It's slightly different at the moment. I think we've only got 4 or 5 players from overseas at this moment in time. But back when I was in Wolves, Peterborough to a certain extent, Bristol, when we went up, so when we were in the majority was English, Irish, Welsh lads, and then when we went up and the club invested a lot, then we got Italian players. Like, you bring in cultures into a room, and I don't think I would have got there anywhere else. If I was, I don't know, if I worked with my dad in his my dad's a mechanic, so if I worked with him in his garage, I don't think there's going to be many multi-cultures in there. It'll just be the local garages, and if I was to go to the local pub, then I'm just getting the local pub opinions and things like that. So that's a massive thing that I learned. And that, respect your elders. That's important. And then dealing with different types of bosses. Like I said, I must have worked under about 20 to 30 different managers now, and they all have their own different setups. My last manager that just left now wouldn't allow me to call him Gaffer, because he wanted to be more of a approachable person. Whereas a manager that I've had a lot of success with absolutely demanded respect. Like, you had to look at him a certain way, shake his hand in a certain way. I can now take that into whatever I do next. Like, I feel that I know how to deal with certain different people.
And obviously there is a lot, the game has changed a lot. I've always, like I say, followed sport and watched football, always loved football, played as a girl. And it is there's a lot more diversity in football now, and in the teams that we see, internationals and stuff, right through the leagues, I think, But in terms of obviously being a black player in football, and now we're seeing some really, what with social media, and I forget, I was reading about another player yesterday, I can't remember who it was now, Man United player, experiencing some racism via sort of social media and stuff. How has it been for you? How has your experiences been?
Were you aware of what happened the weekend, or was that just a normal question?
No, it's a question that I ask. I would speak to a lot of obviously different people. So what happened?
Not last Sunday. Not last Sunday. The Sunday before, I was racially abused online. Me, my wife, and my little boy were having a walk down the beach, and then I had a notification on my phone. So I wasn't playing a game. I wasn't, in terms of a football game, I wasn't uploading anything on social media or anything like that. Not even on my phone. I was just walking down the beach with my little one, and then someone posted some emojis that would suggest of a racially motivated gesture. So Sunday, I just didn't know what was going on. So I'm in Swansea now, so I don't get back here so often, because I'm obviously in Bristol playing. So I was spending the weekend with my family, and I just thought, right, well, I'll deal with this later. So screenshot what happened, and then posted it onto my Twitter just to make people aware. Put my phone down for about 4 or 5 hours, and then when I came back to it, my phone exploded with support from mainly was support from people saying it's disgusting. Honestly, thousands and thousands and thousands of people complaining about it's not acceptable. It's people just pure not support. Friends, old coaches, old managers, all checking that I was okay and all that sort of stuff. When I was having a laugh on the beach with my family type of thing. And then also my Bristol Rovers jumped into action, and all credit to them, because they reported it to the police instantly. Many members of staff, including like board members and things like that got hold of me and checked that I was okay and asked if they could do anything for me. The police called to take a statement. So the club took it very seriously. My previous clubs kind of tweeted just from their official accounts to just check that say they stand with me and support me. So it's just a whirlwind of emotions, really. So I do see when it gets reported of elite, top level players being abused, it is, they do speak about it. The negative stuff gets reported about, but I just wanted to make sure. That I'm not always dwelling on the negative. Like, there are racists out there, like we know that. Like but we also do forget that there are millions and millions of people that support us also. So I did want to get that across when I spoke about it. But I've then, since then, last week, I've had interviews on national newspapers asking about the Black Lives Matter movement, show racism, the red card, kick it out organisations. They've all contacted me, interviewed me, checked that I was okay, all that sort of stuff. Local radio. I've had lots of interviews over this last week. Helps with awareness, really. But that was just my incident Sunday, the last weekend. So there's a slight indication of how it is at the moment.
Yeah, at the moment it just seems, like I say, social media is just, we have these keyboard warriors that think it's okay that they can chuck this abuse out there. How has it been throughout your career? Have you, on the pitch, for instance, has that been okay? Have you had challenges?
I have had challenges, but it might be controversial what I'm saying here, but I personally haven't been plagued with it to the point where it's interrupting my football. My first incident, I represented England under 17s, was my first incident. We actually played in Turkey, and that was awful, appalling. That was the first time I ever experienced anything like it. On the pitch, from their home fans chanting whatever it was, profanities. And then people shouting at the bus when we were leaving. But that was one of my first international trips, so I kind of took that as, oh, well, this is what it's like if you're an international and you're traveling to a different country, like, you're going to get this abuse. But the lads that have been there previous, and other players that I've spoke to as well, I was like, no, that's not normal. Then when I was playing for Wolves, there was a couple of incidents at certain clubs that there was a few odd chants and things like that. I play fullback, so majority of the game I'm taking throw-in, so I'm right next to the opposition crowd. So I've heard then social media kicked in. So I don't think I've heard anything at football stadium, because I'm a senior player now. So if I was to hear anything, then I'd make a deal of it. When I was that age, I kind of got on with it. Now, if I'm, as a 32-year-old man, walking down the side of a football pitch and I hear anything like that, then I'm going to my manager. Then I'll be going to linesmen, any sort of official, to report it. Yeah. Not to make a fuss and give them exactly what they want and show that they've upset someone, but just make sure that it's an aware. And if it ever gets to an extent where it's affecting somebody, so if these chants are one of my younger black players or anything like that, then that I'll make a fuss until that person doesn't feel uncomfortable. It's you can tell if it's affecting someone or not. And I wouldn't allow that player to have to deal with that and carry on the game. So that's never happened. So I just you think about these things, but then social media kicked in then, which basically gives them all a platform to do what they're doing. So I've had hundreds and hundreds of, maybe not hundreds, quite a few comments on social media from people that are not brave enough to say it when they're in prison. It's online. So that, and again, when I was a little bit younger, do I make a fuss of this and just get my head down and work hard? Yeah, I'll just do that rather than making a fuss. But I'm not in that stage in my career now where I can just for me personally, I'm strong enough to deal with it. I don't think I'd let a racist get the better of me to affect what I'm doing, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I look at myself, a younger me, so a 22, 23-year-old me and younger, would I be able to do that? No. So it has to be me now with the thick skin to deal with it for the younger ones and the next generation of people coming on, because I've spoke about this week, so I'm having flashback to the things I've spoke about, and I know that my mom, I've had to have a conversation with my mom when I was very small to say, Mom, what's this that this person's saying? I don't understand it. She's explained it to me. She's been through it before. She's explained it to me, and she said, right, this is what you do when this happens. You report it to a teacher, this, that, and the other. Now, I thought at the end of it, but I feel that I'm going to need to be having those conversations with my little boy, and that's what I don't. This is what I'm scared that I'm going to be. I don't want my son to come home and say, Dad, what? Because it will be Dad, because my wife's wife, she's Welsh, so it's like my mom's. My son isn't going to go to my mom for advice, so it will be me, and I feel. I don't know. I'd just be heartbroken if I'm still having that conversation, because it feels to me that I haven't done enough in that 32 years to kind of help that generation. And then just that's why that's why I make a fuss of it now. That's why I report it. That's why I stand up for people who can't. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's very interesting, and I appreciate you answering the questions around that, because it's not an easy thing to talk about. I know that, so I do appreciate you answering it so honestly. So I'm really conscious of time, and I've got a few more questions, but I'm not going to ask them. We're gonna.
It's more in your podcast.
No, the thing is, I can talk for England as well. So, I mean, what do you see yourself doing? Do you see yourself going into coaching as your career comes to an end?
Yeah, so we've launched my academy down in Swansea.
Oh, amazing! I didn't know that.
It should have started in January, but unfortunately, I was going to say Boris, but it's not Boris. It's Drakeford over here in Wales. That
forget the guy's name.
Yeah, so we're not far off though. I think it's promising signs that they're going to let youngsters outside in organised football plenty of fresh air. So I think it's coming quite soon where we can launch our academy. My badges again, my coaching badges were booked last summer, but obviously, unfortunately, it got pushed back to this summer. So fingers crossed, I can go and do my coaching badges this week. And I do like coaching. I do enjoy coaching. At this moment in time, have I got a desire to be Pep? Do I desire to go up and learn my trade and go and manage in the Premiership? I don't think that one's quite for me. But I feel that I thoroughly enjoy a local academy that will progress the kids through. And I think I am enjoying that at the moment. Although we haven't been able to kick a ball, we're making good friends with parents and things like that. Doing Zoom calls and ball masteries and stuff like that. I'm enjoying that. That's good. That's where I'll continue building my portfolio, but that's kind of ticks over and looks after itself. But my academy is, I think, where I'll be putting my focus.
No, that sounds amazing. I wasn't aware of that, so that sounds really, really good. How do you see that going then? Your academy. What's your dream for that?
So I've made friends with a friend of a friend who's gonna, at this moment in time, I'm obviously still playing full-time football, so somebody's gonna have to help me out with that. So I've kind of not hired. He's like a co-founder of. He's going to be my head coach, so he's going to sort out all that sort of stuff. So we advertised on social media, and we've already got like over 100 inquiries. So there's I'd be very. There's already 100 kids that are kind of interested to take part. So Swans there's only a certain size. So I feel that once we kind of get to our level of, I don't know, maybe a couple of 100, 300 kids in Swansea, when we've run out of kids, for example, then hopefully trying to try another location. So maybe go, because we're in Wales here. I don't feel that, like I mentioned, I was in Worcester, bang smack in the Midlands. I had clubs all the way around. I could go Coventry there, Villa there. I'm in far west in Swansea. I don't feel that the kids have got as much opportunity as what I did in the Midlands. So hopefully start satellites in kind of areas where there's not too much football going on, and then and that would be the aim, is kind of have several locations. That's the dream.
No, it sounds amazing. I wish you best of luck with it. It sounds amazing. Just a couple of sort of non-football-y questions, I guess. What is it do you enjoy outside of football? What floats your boat? What do you enjoy doing?
Well, I'm addicted to Clubhouse now, so I'm gonna have to
yeah, you and me both.
You know what? I didn't realise how much I love socialising. Honestly, I feel lost without seeing my pals and like travelling with the missus. We used to go away 3-4 times a year and visit different places. So as soon as I'm allowed, that's what I was going to say golf, but I'm useless at that.
I play golf and I'm useless, but I still like going.
I enjoy. Do you know? I do enjoy. I know this is going to be geeky and boring, but I do love learning new things. If it enhances my brain, if I'm excited about a subject, I enjoy it. So when it was property before, I used to love going on courses and reading up on that sort of stuff. Now it's more on coaching, because obviously I want the coaching, the academy to grow. So get my back done, reading all these coaching books. It's like a different round to me. I've always read autobiographies on exceptional players. This is a completely different zone on exceptional coaches. So there's a completely another place for me to focus on. And then, like jokingly, I said Clubhouse, but the amount of knowledge that I'm learning on this platform as well.
Yeah, it's been great. Yeah,
I'm not sure if it's gonna. Well, hopefully it's the same, because it's in the comfort of your house at the moment. I know everyone's locked down, but I'm going to get back on going to seminars and back on learning things. That's what I'll be doing.
Yeah, that's nice.
That's a geeky answer.
Sorry
if that's a geeky answer.
But it's your answer. There's no right or wrong answers. They're just your answers. And, I'm sure people listening are interested to know a little bit more about you and, what floats your boat. And if that's that, that's that. That's what's really good. I guess the final question really then is who's the best player you ever played against or with?
Played against or with? Best player with was a chap called Mark Davis, but unfortunately he had to retire due to an injury when he was really young. But he was my same age as me, and we grew up in my academy, and he was predicted to be the best thing. And still to this day, I've not seen anyone as good as him. He was absolutely brilliant. He was sold from Wolves, who were in the Championship, sold him to Bolton in the Premiership, and then I think he played 1 or 2 years in the Premiership, but then his injuries got the better of him, unfortunately. But he's probably the best one I played with. Then against, I get asked this question a lot. So I played against Gareth Bale once, but we were at youth level, so he wasn't actually the Gareth Bale that he is now. So I'm allowed to use the answer. So
I like Gareth Bale though. I've always liked Gareth Bale. I think he's a great player.
Yeah, he's good. Whatever the critics say about him, he's
he's
I'm
good.
not sure if he was when we were 17. He wasn't anything like he was quite thin back then, and then all of a sudden come back and he was an absolute machine. But I played against Steven Gerrard in a reserve game. That was one that stood out in my mind, because our reserve manager kind of every game we used to have like a game plan, and then it was literally like, right, we're going to have to stop. We just have to send 5 or 6 people around Steven Gerrard to stop him.
And you're one of them.
No, I couldn't get anywhere near him. no way. He was out of this world. Honestly, he was out of this world. He was just coming back from injury. That hence why he was playing in the reserve game. He just had an injury, back fit, and still like couldn't get anywhere near him.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah. Oh, Mark, it's been an absolute pleasure. I really appreciate you taking an hour of your time, over an hour, talking to me. And I just wish you all the best for the rest of your career. I hope the academy goes well, and I look forward to seeing more of you at Rovers, hopefully for at least four more years.
Yeah, hopefully.
And what you do next. Thanks very much, Mark. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Sam. Cheers.
Cheers, mate. You've been listening to the Real Life Sports Show. I hope you found some value and joy in this podcast. If you have, then please tell someone else about it. And also, while you're at it, why not leave me a 5-star review? Also, you can share it on your socials. You'll find me mostly on Instagram at Sam Adams Coach. You can also check me out at my website, sam-adams.com. Send any comments or any interest in coaching or speaking to my Instagram. Just drop me a DM. I look at all my messages and I respond to every single one of them.